Okay, let's unpack
Let's
this.
do it.
We're diving into a set of materials that, frankly, challenge just about everything we think we know about history, about the cosmos.
Right. The mission here is to look at these erratics, these anomalies in archaeology and science that just shouldn't be there if the official story is true.
And it's not just a few mismatched puzzle pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The sources suggest the whole picture we've been given is flawed.
Critically flawed, and that maybe our planet has been, well, influenced by forces that are powerful, manipulative, and usually unseen.
And for you listening, I think the big takeaway right from the start is just how flimsy some scientific facts actually are.
Oh, absolutely. Things we were taught as gospel are being overturned almost daily.
It reminds me of that Mr. Fuller quote, where he said that the more you learn, the less obvious everything becomes. He even argued there are no solids and no straight lines in the universe.
Which is a pretty profound place to start. If the basics of reality are that uncertain, why would we be so sure about our history?
Exactly. It's a humility check. And that check starts the moment we look up at the sky.
Modern astronomy is constantly having to admit it was wrong. Spectacularly wrong.
Take Mercury, for instance, a simple planet right in our backyard.
For generations, every textbook said it didn't rotate, that it was tidally locked, one side always facing the sun.
And
Now we know that's completely false. NASA probes showed it rotates just slowly. That's a huge fundamental error about our next-door neighbor.
And it gets bigger. Some leading astronomers are now arguing that Jupiter might not even be a planet.
They're suggesting it could be a cold star, a failed star.
And what's the evidence for that?
Well, it's emitting these incredibly powerful, unexplained radio waves from its core, and it has these massive electrical storms. If it is a cold star, then our whole model of a single-sun solar system is just wrong.
The scale of these miscalculations is staggering. Dr. Frank Drake at Cornell put a number on it, didn't he?
He did. He estimated that our understanding of the amount of matter in space was off by a factor of about 1 trillion.
1 trillion.
Yeah. I mean, when your calculations are off by 1 trillion, you're not just refining a theory.
You're scrapping the whole book and starting over.
And that instability in cosmology, it forces you to look at the instability in our own history.
Which brings us to the physical artifacts. The stuff on the ground that just doesn't fit the timeline.
Let's start with the big one, the Piri-Reis map.
Dated 1513, but it was copied from much older source maps, maybe 10,000 years older.
And the thing that's so stunning is its accuracy. Professor Hapgood's study found it was never more than 5 degrees off modern charts.
Which, as Captain Mallory pointed out, implies one thing.
It has to be the product of an aerial survey.
Think about that. An aerial survey 10,000 years ago. That means flight, mapping technology, a global perspective. That's not supposed to exist back then.
And this kind of technological weirdness just keeps popping up.
Like the Baghdad battery, actual electric batteries found in ancient Egyptian tombs.
Or that massive slab of perfect green glass found in an Israeli cave. I mean, tons of it. It's the biggest piece of perfectly cast glass ever found, and it dates to an era that supposedly didn't have that technology.
And then you got the pictures. The stuff they drew on cave walls.
We're told dinosaurs were long gone before humans showed up.
Yet we have these cave paintings of creatures that look, well, unmistakably like dinosaurs.
And other carvings show men hunting giant mammoths or elephants. It suggests an overlap in time that, according to the official story, is impossible.
So these aren't just little curiosities.
No, they're foundational cracks. They show the models we're using are, at best, incomplete.
And when you go from a small artifact to a giant stone structure, the problem just gets exponentially bigger. Let's talk Stonehenge.
Our sources call it a pointless and impossible exercise.
The numbers are just crazy. The astronomer Gerald Hawkins calculated it took 1.5 million man-days of labor.
That's spread over 3 centuries, 10 generations of people hauling these massive stones for what?
And they needed incredible knowledge. Math, astronomy, engineering. The question is, where did they get it? Was it their own, or were they just
following orders?
Exactly. Like Moses being given the blueprints for the Ark of the Covenant. It's a recurring theme, isn't it? These gods demanding huge, bizarre construction projects.
Which leads us directly to Egypt. Over 90 pyramids, and the most famous one, the Great Pyramid at Giza.
It was never a tomb. Its purpose is a complete mystery.
And the logistics are impossible. How did they move stones that big from quarries hundreds of miles away?
Well, the early ufologist Morris K. Jessup had a theory.
Ah, yes, levitation.
He suggested a giant spaceship provided the heavy lifting.
But that just creates a bigger problem, doesn't it?
It's a huge logical leap.
Hmm.
If you have interstellar travel, why are you building with crude stone blocks? Why not use advanced alloys or something?
And more importantly, why wouldn't you leave a clear message?
Right. Instead of a plaque in 50 languages, all we found inside are some crude marks from the stonemasons.
And this goes against all those occult prophecies, for people like Edgar Cayce or George Hunt Williamson,
They promised a hidden chamber, a hall of records,
with all the secrets of the universe. But what did we actually find?
an empty stone tub.
Yeah.
That's it. No great revelation. It feels like even the prophecies about it were a misdirection.
Now let's jump 3,000 miles across the Pacific to the island of Ponape.
The ruins of Metallanum, a city built for maybe 2 million people.
Using 15-ton stones that aren't even from the island. It has these huge canals, big enough for a battleship, that light straight out into the ocean.
And here's the really weird part.
Yeah.
3,000 miles away, on Malden Island.
You find 40 stone temples that are architecturally identical to Metallanum.
And roads, basalt roads leading from the ruins right into the Pacific Ocean where they just stop.
You add that to the 70-ton stone arches on Tonga Taboo, and there's really only one explanation that makes any sense.
Cataclysm.
These islands must have all been part of a much larger single landmass, the legendary Mu, or Lemuria, a whole continent that was swallowed by the ocean.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Uh-oh.
So, if these structures defy our timeline and our science, the sources suggest we have to consider outside help.
A superculture, or god kings.
Beings who appeared to early humans and just sort of kick-started everything, directed their development, gave them technology.
And this isn't just one local myth, it's everywhere. The Hopi Indians talk about the Kachina clan, spirits who guided them and then left for the stars.
Japanese and Eskimo legends say the same thing, that their people were settled by beings from the sky.
So this whole UFO thing, it's not new, it's just the latest chapter of a very old story.
We have French cave paintings, 10, maybe 30,000 years old, showing things that look exactly like flying saucers on tripod legs.
And the ancient Indian texts, the Vedas, describing the Vimanas.
Which are what, exactly?
Aerial cars. That's the rough translation. But they're described as silent, capable of becoming invisible, and propelled by tunes and rhythms.
Which sounds like an ancient person trying to describe, I don't know, anti-gravity physics.
Precisely. But here's the crucial distinction our sources make. These beings might not be aliens in the way we think of them.
Not from another planet.
Not necessarily. They're described as ultra-terrestrials. Or elementals.
What's the difference?
An ultra-terrestrial is native to Earth, just maybe not our dimension. They can change shape, which is why they show up in folklore as fairies, demons, vampires, you name it. And they are, above all, manipulative.
And they use these weird psychological tricks. The sources say they can cause localized hallucinations where a group of people see the same event but describe it in wildly different ways.
That deceptive, shape-shifting nature leads us straight to the modern equivalent.
The Men in Black.
The MIB. The first big report was from the Maury Island incident in 1947. A witness, Harold Dahl, is visited by this guy in a black suit.
And the man in black knows things about the sighting that Dahl hadn't told anyone, not even his family.
And he just warns him, very bluntly, to keep quiet.
The descriptions of them are always so strange and inconsistent. Sometimes they look oriental, sometimes gypsy-like, wearing these ill-fitting suits.
And they always drive those big black Cadillacs. Some witnesses even report a weird purplish glow inside the car, like the vehicle itself is just a prop.
Their whole method is impersonation.
Always. Someone takes a photo of a UFO, and minutes later, men show up claiming to be from NORAD or the CIA, and they confiscate the evidence.
But when the witness checks later, the real agencies have no record of it.
They're imposters, the same way an elemental might have impersonated a demon in the Middle Ages to scare a village.
But why? What's the motive behind all the deception?
The sources are pretty clear on this. Their goal is to cultivate certain beliefs in the human population.
They create events to support a story.
Exactly. Take the big government cover-up theory. The idea that the government is hiding crashed saucers and alien bodies. Our sources suggest that whole narrative was deliberately manufactured by these ultra-terrestrials.
Using the MIB to silence witnesses, which then just reinforces the idea that there's a huge conspiracy to hide something.
They're not just observing us, they're writing the script.
And it seems they can mess with more than just our beliefs. They can disrupt reality itself, especially time.
There are so many historical reports of people just vanishing without a trace, often children.
And those incredible stories of instant transportation. There's that famous one of the Spanish soldier.
Right. He's on guard duty in Manila in 1593, and in the blink of an eye, he finds himself in Mexico City, 9,000 miles away.
Still in his uniform, totally confused. He was just moved.
And ancient texts describe this too. In the Proto-Evangelion, there's a part where Joseph is looking for a midwife, and the whole world just freezes.
The birds stop mid-flight. People are frozen at their dinner table.
Everything stops. Time is paralyzed for the entire world, except for Joseph, the person having the experience.
And that's the key part. Time stops for everyone else, but not the observer. That's a theme that comes up again and again in modern UFO encounters.
But it's not always scary or confusing. Sometimes contact leads to these incredible moments of illumination.
Like St. Paul on the road to Damascus, a life-changing event.
And modern witnesses report the same thing. Their IQs seem to skyrocket overnight. People who were, mediocre become brilliant leaders or artists. It's like a door was opened in their mind.
So let's try to pull all this together. Science is unstable, ancient history is impossible, and there are these shape-shifting, time-bending entities messing with our beliefs. Where does that leave us?
It leads to a pretty radical conclusion about consciousness itself. The sources point to a cosmic consciousness, a kind of supermind.
And our individual souls.
Are just extensions of that mind, like a droplet in the ocean.
So when prophecies from groups like the Hopi talk about a coming harvest or purification, that's not what we think it is.
It's not about going to heaven. It's about your consciousness being reabsorbed into the supermind.
And your personality, your memories, your ego.
All of that, everything that makes you you, is just left behind. You cease to exist as an individual. It's not salvation, it's absorption.
So what does this all mean? We've looked at this staggering pile of evidence that suggests we're in this long cyclical interaction with ultra-terrestrial forces. Not friendly visitors, but mischievous gods, maybe. Mimics who are constantly changing the human story.
And I think the big lesson is that nothing is stable. Not our science, not our history. It's all negotiable, and it might be under external control.
Which leaves us with a final, really provocative thought.
Go on.
We've seen that the men in black, the modern ultra-terrestrials, create fake stories and impersonate officials to mislead people.
Right, to shape our beliefs.
So if these ancient elemental forces have been manipulating human belief for thousands of years, and if they can create incredibly complex solutions, even freeze time, is it possible that the entire alien from another star story, the very foundation of modern ufology, is just the latest and most sophisticated lie they've ever told? Something to think about.